This week we're going to be talking about connection. And the first step is knowing how you can connect with the people in your church. Let's discuss. I wanted to start today's episode with a story. About 3 years ago, my pastor sat me down and I was, plugging away at my job. Everything was going fine. Oh, for those of you who don't know, I'm a worship leader. And so, lead worship every Sunday. That's my full-time gig. I have this beautiful office where I work and got kind of like a recording studio set up in here. It's really cool. I really love what I do. And I really love leading other people in worship. Like that's the thing. That's the best feeling in the world for me, is to see other people worshiping God. In the midst of doing that, I've been at this job for 6 years, and about 3 years ago, my pastor sat me and the youth guy at the time down, and he said, "Hey, I want us to come up with a schedule." I was thinking, all right, cool. Like we're gonna add more, whenever events and stuff into our calendar. That's fine. He said, "I want us to come up with a schedule of particular people that we want to invite to coffee, invite out to a lunch, couples that we want to have over to our houses, and I want them to be regularly scheduled. At least one intentional contact with somebody in our church throughout the course of the week." And I was a little grumpy about it, because I was like, man, I'm already I already feel like I'm pretty connected to the people in my church, and so I don't really feel like I need to do this in order to find better relationships in my church. And it I also have this authority complex where if somebody tells me to do something, I don't really want to do it just because somebody's telling me to do it. But in this case, it really worked out, because now 3 years later, having done this fairly regularly in the time that I've in the 3 years since then, it has absolutely changed the way that I view ministry, the way that I view my friendships, the way that I approach doing my job. And so I kind of want to share that with you. And I want to see a lot more people in the church get really passionate about connecting with other people inside the church. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I've seen a massive amount of life change in my own life and in the lives of the people that I've been in regular contact with at my church, as a result of this one challenge 3 years ago that I decided to keep up. And so I want to help you to do that very same thing. The proof is really in the pudding, The proof is really in how has it really practically changed my life? That's a really big claim. My wife, a little while ago, was 8 months pregnant and got a positive COVID test. Now, I know COVID is a hugely, political thing, but it was scary. There's a global pandemic going on, and she gets the thing that has killed a lot of people, and so we were legitimately scared and legitimately worried, and there's nothing like a crisis to help you to see what your community really looks like, and helps you to see where your friends are in your life. I'm happy to say that she is fine, and everything worked out, and we're all better and out of quarantine and then the whole thing. But what's really remarkable is the way in which our church came around us during this time. I mean, this wasn't even like a really big time serious loss. I mean, this wasn't even like the loss of a child or a loss of a loved one or something like this. Is just, she is sick, and we are quarantined with our 3 kids in our house, and she's 8 months pregnant. And this is gonna kind of sound like a brag on myself, but it's not. It's a brag on my community and the people at my church. And it's a brag on just the relationships that already existed and the depth of them. We had a solid week where we did not really cook any meals. It got so overwhelming in the first day that there were meals coming in towards us that I immediately had to hand it off to somebody else to organize meals coming to our house. So the food kept flowing in, and it was really, really good. It wasn't just run-of-the-mill food. It was just, anything and everything. When we moved into our house, it came with a refrigerator, and we were bringing a refrigerator, and so it also had a garage. We put the old refrigerator in the garage. We filled up 2 refrigerators full of food from people in our church in order to help us out. People ordered stuff on Amazon, like puzzles and games for my kids, and had them sent to our house. People brought toys for my children. People brought stuff for me. It was absolutely incredible, and I'm still floored by this experience of seeing my church family. And the crazy thing was, it wasn't even just people from my church, people from our school community and outside, just a bunch of people who we have connected with over the course of years just rallied around us and blessed us beyond what I could have imagined. Now, I'm not saying that this is absolutely going to happen to you. I'm in a pretty public position. I'm up on stage every Sunday. My wife was 8 months pregnant when she got COVID. Those are extenuating circumstances. But the point is, when a crisis happens, you see the nature of your community. And unfortunately, I can compare that amazing experience with another experience where I didn't have good community around me, and crisis happened, and I felt alone. And let me tell you, that is absolutely one of the worst feelings in the world. To be going through a crisis and feeling like you are absolutely and completely on your own. I don't want that for anybody. And I especially don't want that for anybody who is inside a healthy church. And so, for that reason, I decided to create a resource. And it's a resource that I'm giving to people freely. It's my gift to you. I don't ever want you to feel like you're alone. And so, but the very first step, the best way for you to learn anything is for you to experience it yourself. The best way for me to learn this lesson was to have my pastor challenge me and to actually do the steps, not believing it would change anything, and then having experience be my teacher. But then the second best way to learn how to connect with people is through education. All right. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm trying to educate you on the benefits of a healthy community that creates culture inside the church. And my hope is that we'll be able to create this kingdom culture that we'll then be able to offer to the world. It'll be so much better than anything that the world could ever offer. And so I've created this resource. It's called a connection assessment, and there's no right or wrong answers in it. It's just a PDF document. It's all explained inside the document, and I've got a link to it in the description. And I would love for you to grab one of these as my free gift to you, and to just figure out where you are. How are you doing with being able to connect in the church? How are you doing with being able to connect with other people who are believers, even outside your own local church community? My testimony is one that I definitely believe that God works really powerfully in the midst of community. And so I want him to do that in your life as well. And so I'm going to do whatever I can to help that happen. So if you don't mind, just grab that free gift down in the description below. And yeah, I hope that it's the very first step that you take towards transforming your community, investing more in your church culture, and seeing that have a ripple effect that really can change the world. Thanks for tuning in this week.